I met my girl when she was 15 and I was 19. Dude, that already just stop. Stop what you're doing.
I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
Alright guys, how's it going? It's me, ReddX. That's not the voice we're gonna use. How you doing, friends? Welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise. Swearsies, it's just a fact. And it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much. I found some more despicable posters from Am I the Antagonist? And I feel good when I find these because the answer is usually a resounding yes. Are you wrong? Yes. Unequivocally. I don't want deep moral quandaries. I want somebody to rip on, so feed them to me, Reddit. You're gonna love it. Am I wrong for how I reacted to being cheated on? I met my girl when she was 15 and I was 19. Dude, that already just stop. Stop what you're doing.
I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
Yes, you're wrong. Before the whole thing even began, you're wrong. But it gets worse. We officially started dating when she turned 16. I felt weird about it at first, but she kept assuring that it was legal, and I was like, fine, okay. Yeah, you just sort of stumbled into this, didn't you? You had your reservations, right? But you still did it. Somebody call Chris Hansen in here.
Why don't you have a seat?
OP says, we got along great. The relationship progressed, and so far we've been together for 3 years. She's had a rough home life, so when she was in school, she'd stay over at my apartment and, miss a lot of school. Yeah, that's bad. I'd tell her that she should go, but I was working and in college and couldn't deal with trying to force her to go back to a home she didn't like. I don't believe that either. I think you encouraged her to stay there as much as possible. It's kind of difficult for me to believe that OP thinks he's so smart that he can fool the entire internet. No, dude. People see through a lot of stuff. But OP continues, everything was fine. We laughed and traveled and had good memories. Until she got pregnant, 8 months into our relationship. I explained how the child would end up hating her for bringing it into poverty. I'm in school, she was 16, it just wouldn't have worked, so she terminated it and blamed me. It never went back to normal. She cried, and I didn't show any emotion, but it tore me up inside. Well, then that doesn't really count, does it? Are you not going to comfort her during this time of need? Make a connection with this person that you've chosen to be with? She's gone through hell for you at this point. So let me see if I get this series of events straight. You groomed a teenage child, 15, 16, impregnated her, presumably still 16, maybe 17, still not okay for a 20-something. Then you twisted her arm until she got the abortion. And not even once did you tell her that it was going to be okay or thank her for what she did or tell her that at least you really do see a future together and in the right time, maybe we can make it happen. Something like that. You just sat there with your stone face, but you're like, oh, seeing her sad makes me sad. Well, then fucking do something about it. Okay, sorry for the tangent. She told me she wasn't happy anymore and didn't want to be with me. Imagine that. But still hung out with me, and I thought things were back to normal until I found out she was seeing some guy from her school. Yeah, you provided her a place to live for free. It might be a little awkward now, but I don't think she's gonna give that up. She told me that guy was her best friend, and I snapped. Just a child in a grown man's body. Doesn't ever want to deal with the consequences of his own actions. I've seen it all before. This was me at 20-something without the grooming part. So go ahead, tell us, OP, how did you snap? And let's utilize the neckbeard voice, if you please. I messaged him and said some shitty things and told her that I was gonna end myself. After a few weeks of me begging and crying, she took me back. What a mistake. That's the way to fix your relationship, is it? Sewer slide baiting. Awesome. Dude, maybe just I don't know, try the baby thing again, you know? It didn't work before, maybe this time it's gonna be different. For real. That's evil. Please leave this poor child alone. Please stand up against that wall. A few months later, she tried to cheat again and kept telling me that she didn't love me. Yeah, you guys don't love each other. None of this is what people in love do. You're a bunch of children trying to play like you're adults. Or I guess OP is an adult who's trying to play like a child. And I can get behind it if you're into Legos or something like that, but if you're into high school girls, nah, dude. We gotta fight right now. So yes, she obviously kept telling you that she didn't love you, but she still hung out with me. Because you're providing a place to live. This time, I went out of character and smashed her phone as I saw the messages when she was in my bed. Are you holding this girl hostage? Like, where is her family during all of this? I don't know if they'd be that much help, but surely it's at least slightly better than this, right? Maybe. But yes, you broke a piece of her property. We're all aware that you're a maniac now. There's physical evidence of it. I mean, aside from the dumpster baby. So sure, continue on. Regale us all about how it wasn't so bad when you impregnated that teenager and broke her stuff and kept her trapped in your house. Am I wrong? You're more than wrong, dude. You're despicable. You're a disgrace. I would drive by her place. Of course you would. Fucking creeper. The deeper we descend, I'd stay in the parking lot and tell her I'm not leaving until she at least gives me the decency to talk to me. What is there even left to say? Good on her for leaving after you smashed her property, because the next thing that's gonna get smashed is her face, I'm pretty sure. This has got to be just rage bait, right? No human being is this unaware of themselves and their surroundings, right? But I've seen it so many times before that it's just like, Jesus, man. What am I supposed to do here? Watch it all derail, I guess. Watch the train fly into the woods. She shouldn't have gone out and talked to him. She should have called security. But OP says, I would just keep calling and calling until she came into my car. I would call her off blocked numbers until she answered, logged into her Apple ID, and threatened to send an audio of nighttime things. It was just the audio, though. Yeah, that doesn't really make it any better, does it? You know the type of weird, messed up things I'm saying while we're banging it out? I'm not going to tell you because it's disgraceful. And yeah, I'm sure maybe she said some things to get herself off. And then blackmailing her? Blackmailing her with it?
Blackmail! Thank you, Cleveland.
Dude, it's just a rage bait post. It's fine. It's going to be fine, everybody. I'm not letting it get me angry. I was doing anything I could to get her back. I'd message her friends and tell them that she was talking crap. I threatened to expose her trauma to her mom. I was never gonna. Do you think the fact that you didn't makes it any better? You're wielding this piece of trauma as a weapon against her. Do you realize that? This child has been terrorized. I want my pound of flesh. OP says, I was a mess and did substances. Oh yeah, with the excuses, cool. I told her I was going to overdo them and jump off a building, and I told her it would be her fault. I was going to. Yeah, totally for reals you were going to this time. It's just the same strategy you employed last time and you thought it would work again. And apparently it did. She did the right thing and stood by me to help until a few months later where she cheated again. I hate feeling played. She broke my heart. She was the only one who understood me. She told me she loved me, but was talking to other people. I'm pretty sure at the point she was talking to other people, she had told you she didn't love you. Your brain has rewritten this entire situation into one that you are the hero, and that's disgusting to me. Even in this version, where you're supposed to make yourself look like the good guy, you come off like a piece of garbage. You deserve the worst punishment possible. I'm not joking at all. It's a perfect example of why women fear leaving men. I don't know, man. I really hate that story a whole hell of a lot, but that was the whole purpose. So the title, I'm like, I can't stay away from this one. And luckily, we found a legitimately insane person online. Or a rage bait troll, but either way, sorta got me. Let's see if they can get me in the next one right now. Am I the beehole for messaging him after he blocked me? And I think this one is for the ladies. I had a nice first date with a guy. He went the whole 9 yards, let me pick the place, made reservations, paid the bill, held the door, was chivalrous, etc., and was really, really handsome and nice. For example, he checked in with me to see if I needed to use the restroom and said, "Don't rush," when I said I would go quickly. He was polite to the staff. Yeah, sounds like you got yourself a real catch there. Or a murderous psychopath, but I guess there's only one way to find out. Admittedly, OP says I was nervous during the date and was kind of socially awkward, but I thought that would be okay for a first date, and he would give me time to open up on future dates. It's a bit presumptuous. You haven't even locked the first one down. I also didn't want to get drunk and make a fool out of myself, even though, in hindsight, that probably would have made the date more fun, because it kind of felt like a job interview. I also told him I was looking for the one, which my mom later told me probably made me seem like a desperate loser that no one else wanted. Oof, mom's got her own baggage to unpack. Seems like OP's holding on to some of it. This is degenerating nicely. Continue on. So anyway, on the way out of the restaurant, he invited me back to his place to watch a movie. I panicked and made up an excuse about my dad picking me up and ran into a convenience store because I assumed this meant that he wanted segs, even though he never discussed anything sexual on the date or during the video call. He looked kind of defeated and just hugged me and left. Probably he means what he says, like, it was the movie thing. If it moves on to something more, that's great, but if we just watch Transformers, well, at least I know for sure we're not going to go out again. After the date, he texted me saying that because I wanted a few more dates, it made him think that I didn't find him attractive or had doubts about him, and he said if that was the case, he wanted to know sooner rather than later. I said no. The truth was, I really liked him, I just wasn't ready to have segs. But he claimed all we were going to do was cuddle and watch a movie and spend some more time together. Yeah, it takes two to tango, you know? If you weren't into it, he'd probably stop, or he'd chop you up into little bits inside of his bathtub. Only one way to find out! He seemingly understood, and since I told him I wanted to see him again, I thought he would just set up another date. I waited 6 days, then finally got a message from him, and I was excited. It said, "Hey, how have you been? I just wanted to let you know I've taken things further with another person. Had a good time with you last week, though. I'm sure you'll find someone, though. You're a great person." Well, perhaps you should have taken the initiative on that one if you were really that into it. So where's the stalking part? Then he blocked me a few hours later. I didn't reply, but only because I was crying and was trying to think of an appropriate response. But yeah, anyway, again, he blocked me before I could reply. Because I didn't get a chance to respond, I tried to find him on Facebook and send him a request, but he declined it. And I even made a new dating profile to try and rematch him. He's still on the site, but he won't rematch. I had cute photos, so I thought this would work. I'm in shock mode. Oh, boring cyber stalking, dude. I'm so disappointed. I wanted you to, like, wait outside his house in the bushes or something like that. Like, that's the real crazy type of stuff that I subsist on, essentially. All right, let's roll the dice one more time. Let's see what we get this time. Am I the butthole for calling out my sister for being so vulgar? Yes, how uncouth. So, my friends claim that my sister is a 9. I'd say she's more of a 5 or 6 because of her horrible attitude, and she's pretty mid. Oh, you can tell this is written by a teenager. Okay, great. Let me give you some life advice there, kiddo. She would not stick out in a crowd of 30 other dyed pink hair Taylor shit and K-poop fans with Starbucks in their hands, talking like all young 18-year-old girls do. Sounds to me like you're mad that your friends think your sister's hot, which I mean, I guess at 16 is something you feel like you have to defend, especially on the internet where people have no idea who you're talking about. It's okay, little guy. It's a hell of a time, you know? Hormones, they'll beat the shit out of you. But you'll get through it. We all did. Except the ones who are dead. The sister also claims to be a lesbian. She has a big ego, and I've always tried to humble her and knock her down a peg. Yes, always bring them down to your level. Well advised. It didn't, and still doesn't help, that guys are always flocking to her. It's not Chads either. They're humble, decent, yet average-looking dudes who may be a bit awkward with females, but they deserve a chance. Oh my god, you want to date your sister, that's what you're telling me, in a roundabout sort of way. Opie says, maybe it's me projecting, but I've never had a girlfriend because no one ever gives me a chance. Like, sure, I'm not the most fit or good looking, but I have a lot of love to give. Then give that love to your sister. Why are you trying to knock her down a peg or two? You're gonna treat your wife the exact same way. Work on your own damage before you rush into it with somebody else. That's a lot more wires to untangle, you see? She always turns down these guys, and it's sad because she's so young and she's already limiting herself by making rash decisions. Oh, how rash! Dude, you're a weird kid, aren't you? She knows what she wants and she's going for it. I mean, the nerds have their time to shine a bit later in life. Don't worry so much. Deep down, I think she's actually just keeping up an appearance of hating men, but she has to keep up the trendy men bad persona. Well, I see what's going on here. The Chads aren't asking her out because they know better than to, like, try and change a woman's orientation. The nice, normal, nice guys, the neckbeards and oogie boogies crawling out from every dark corner, they're the ones that are like, let me save you. Let me save you with my magic dong. And yeah, she keeps saying no because purportedly a lesbian. I believe it. I have no reason not to believe it. OP's just going through some really weird emotions towards his sister right now, and I don't think this is the time or the place to unpack all that, but just know, it's really uncomfortable. Continuing. She also claims to hate children and never want them, but I guarantee by age 25, she'll have a boyfriend and a child. Don't quote me, but the stakes are high. The stakes are high? I think you mean the odds are high. The stakes are quite low. You've bet nothing but your own dignity, and I'll be honest, you didn't have much of that left, OP. Just a little dribble drop. She likes Asian boy bands, so obviously she likes men. Anyway, whenever she gets hit on, she always says this vulgar question, asking men if they perform oral on females. She says it more vulgarly, using the P word, or do you know where the C word is? And the guys look at her in disgust and yell a shocked, no, and run off. Yeah, I don't think that's the reaction that a vast majority of men would have. She'd say the P word and he'd be like, I'll do whatever you want. OP says, it's quite embarrassing that instead of turning them down gently, she goes right to asking those types of questions. Now, I'm not dumb, citation needed. I'm a guy, and when I hit on a girl, I do intend for it to go to the bedroom. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. How many times that worked out for you, OP? 0 so far? Okay, well, keep swinging, you know? Eventually you're gonna knock one out of the park. Today, when we went to Target, the shy, awkward, nerdy dude asked her if she would like to have drinks at his place sometime. She asked the vulgar question, and I immediately stepped in and apologized to him and scolded her, saying that was uncalled for and gross. Yes, my poor little baby ears. She cursed at me and left, leaving me behind, forcing me to get an Uber. We got into a fight when I got home, and she said, it's those guys' fault for not caring about women's pleasure, which is ridiculous, and I argued why she would care about that if she's going to turn them down anyway. Why ask that question and just turn them down like a normal person? Am I the butthole for calling her out on being weird towards guys? She should be grateful that a lot of guys want to be with her. You're a really weird kid, OP. I'd recommend getting into therapy as soon as possible. I don't know how old you are, but none of this seems normal to me, so please, seek professional help. Let your sister live her life, for God's sakes. You and her, it ain't never gonna happen because it's gross. It's gross! Cue up the banjos. Alright, let's see what we got in the next one. Am I the butthole for telling her that it's not her kid? I mean, I guess that entire argument hinges on whether it is her kid or not, no? My brother Adam and his wife Eve live with another woman, Lilith. Lilith is a mess. She's morbidly obese and doesn't work because she's quote-unquote disabled. Supposedly, she moved in with them because she was having some sort of mental health issue living with her parents. She was then in her late 20s, and she never left. I mean, you sort of glossed over the disability and the mental health issues. I'm glad she had a support network. Maybe she does need legitimate help every day, and they're willing to take that on. So good on everybody, except OP, I guess, who, for some reason, has a problem with this. Adam and Eve both dote on her. She comes to every family event. The one time she wasn't invited, they were pissy about it. Every month, there's a new, oh, poor Lilith thing, and everyone's supposed to be all sympathetic about it. Yeah, like she's a human being or something? What's up with that? She got dealt a rough hand, okay? She's doing the best that she can, I'm sure. Well, not completely sure, but moderately sure. 2 years ago, my sister and sister-in-law, not Eve, were going through baby clothes that sister-in-law no longer needed. Lilith started crying, and Adam and Eve escorted her out and went and comforted her for like 2 hours. And OP acts like that's an imposition on her. Jesus, dude. Get real. Why don't you go comfort her with them or something? Like, start building a little relationship, some rapport. It seems like she's going to be around for a while. I was going to confront her then for ruining joyful events for my family that she's apparently decided to join. But my mother insisted we couldn't mention it because Lilith was, quote, going through a difficult time, when she is not. Yeah, let me tell you what's actually going on in your brain. Oh, okay, sure. Because she'd been told a few weeks before that she was going to have a hysterectomy due to quote-unquote pre-cancer. Yeah, you never hear the pitter-patter of little feet? That breaks my heart, man. I want to tear up on Lilith's behalf. And OP can only be like, ugh, you're making this about you. It's like, no, dude, she's going through something right now. Stop being a selfish bitch for 1 second and participate in it. Or leave. OP says, now Eve is pregnant, and they've decided that Lilith is going to co-parent as a second mother to the poor kid. Now Lilith claims the baby, who isn't born yet, takes after her. So what? Stupid lie. Kids believe stupid lie. I'm pretty sure she's got like the mind of a child, right? She doesn't fully understand all these concepts. Just let her have it. Why does it matter at all? Sure, the baby takes after her. Whatever. Like, the baby is super squirmy on the ultrasounds and she fidgets all the time. That's it. Literally everything they have because the baby's not born. It has no relationship with Lilith at all. I don't know. I had a relationship with my kids before they popped out. I'd rub my wife's stomach and sing them songs and read them stories. Tell them what it's going to be like out here and all the great things that daddy's going to do for them. But I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. Adam and Eve just kept laughing about it. They even play along. Oh yes, how dare they choose to live their own lives. I got to see that joke play out twice, where Lilith said it, and once where Adam did. Oh, the baby takes after Lilith. They were all at my mother's house, and different people kept coming by to congratulate them on the baby. OP, are you sad that you don't have a baby? Is that what this is all about? The case has been solved. Close the book on this one. Book 'em, Dano. OP says, the fourth time I heard this joke, I lost it. I said, no, he doesn't take after you. He's not your kid and never will be. And Lilith cried again. Yeah, because you're being a monster right now. Let her live the fantasy, for God's sake. Whatever. Eve took her out of the room, and my brother lit into me, said that it's just a joke that makes her feel better about never getting to be pregnant, even though she really wanted to be at some point. And he keeps on about it. He says she is the kid's mother, even though, she literally isn't, and that if I can't accept that and treat her like a part of his family and his child's parents, then I wouldn't be welcome to see my nephew, ever. Yeah, basically, I hate to see family stuff happen, but they get to make this choice, not you. This OP really is just an insane person. I said I didn't think he'd be willing to skip out on every family event over this shit. He said he'd tell our family it was him and Eve with the baby and Lilith or me, and we'd see who was invited. Pretty easy decision, honestly. Those three are nice to be around, and they got a new baby. Bring them on through. OP, yeah, she's a miserable ball of hate. There's not really any other selling point. OP continues, my mother is basically obsessed with her grandchildren ever since Dad died, and my brother has always been the golden firstborn son. She calls Lilith her bonus stepdaughter, which I'm pretty sure is a dig at me because I'm not married. Well, who would have seen that one coming? Although that girl seems like a lot of fun to be around. Somebody snatch her up real quick. That's who I want to be my partner in life. A hateful shrew. OP says, now I'm basically going to get kicked out of my own family if I don't apologize to Lilith and pretend she's totally my nephew's mother, even though she obviously definitely isn't. Am I the butthole, or is my brother way out of line? Yeah, I'm pretty sure your brother's the only one seeing sense here. There's a lot to unpack here too, man. I know you're hurting deep down, OP, and you're taking this hurt out on other people, and that's not really okay. Everything is just fine with Lilith. Honestly, things are a lot better with Lilith than they are with you, and you might want to do something about that. But I can't live your life for you. We'll do a couple more of these. Look at this. Am I the butthole for demanding my girlfriend buy me a new car? Yeah, probably. I mean, that's not normal. My 29 male girlfriend, 27 female, used my car a while ago, and she crashed it. She swerved it into a post to avoid an overtaking car, so it was completely her fault, and the other car just left. Damn, sucks to suck. But it is a better option than the head-on collision, I'd wager. I didn't want my insurance going up. Dude. Was your girlfriend okay? Do you care? So I had her pay for the repair, which was about $7,000. However, when they repaired it, the car didn't feel the same, and it sounded different. Yeah, because it's essentially, we had to cobble this shit back together. Do you understand that? It didn't just roll off the factory floor anymore. Is that processing for you? They have since re-looked at the car and addressed the issues and changed more parts and claim that it should be good as new now. And while it drives fine, I don't fully believe them and think that there could be issues down the line. You're suffering more in your mind than in reality at this moment. You're like, what if something happens? Yeah. What if your girlfriend crashes the car? I guess we get through it. We get through it much more concerned about the vehicle than the girlfriend. That's what I'm seeing right now. OP says, I asked my girlfriend to buy me a new car of the same model and use the money from selling the old one so she would only have to pay the difference. Dude. She's already dumped $7,000 into it. I don't think she's too keen on just buying you a new one after all that shit. OP says, I bought all of my cars new, and I don't believe in the quality of used cars. I've bought nothing but used cars and had no problems. Look at the engine. Ain't no duct tape or funny wires. Okay, do you have maintenance records? Oh, look at that. Regular oil changes. Okay, then the car is sold. Not quite good as new. A little bit of maintenance down the road, but all that's fine. Except for OP, I guess. Because he just wants more. She got upset and tried to guilt trip me, saying that I should just be happy she's okay. And she called me an a-hole. I'm not sure if I am. She makes more money than me and has about 250,000 saved. So it's not like she couldn't do it. And I'm only asking her to pay the difference and undo her mistake. The difference. She's the one who made the car drivable again. She's already put $7,000 into it. Do you think people who have $250,000 can just live forever, buying whatever they want with $250,000? The reason that she even has it is because she's frugal. The $7,000 is what undid your mistake. You're on your own at this point. I hope girlfriend kicks her to the curb. OP finishes with, the new car's worth a lot more now is when I bought it. It's just before COVID prices were not as crazy, but that's not my fault. Let's consider how much insurance costs in the US. When I was still driving there, 20-something, a decade or more at this point, my little V4 Hondas, hatchbacks, the type of car that I basically always buy, insurance was only about like $60 to $80. She dumped $7,000 into a car to stop his insurance premiums from going up. If you're paying $80 a month, $7,000 will accumulate in 87 and a half months. That is 7.2916 years. Longer than this relationship will last. And she still went the full 9, paid the $7,000, got the car repaired to fix her mistake, and now that's it. You don't get to go backsies and decide that you want the better fix. You're literally an insane person to even think that that's like conceivable. Because even if you loan your car out, it's still your responsibility. She didn't have to pay the $7,000. She did it because your relationship meant more to her than $7,000. It's just a shame that her relationship with you doesn't mean more to you than a brand new car. What an idiot. All right, let's go again. Am I the butthole for wanting to kick out my autistic kid? I don't know. Do you feel like you are? Is there a reason that you need to ask this question? OP says, okay, yeah. I know that sounds really bad, but please keep an open mind here. Yeah, I'll try my best, I guess. I, 58 female, have a 17 female child who identifies as non-binary, so I'll be using they, them for them, who is also autistic. They were always really high-functioning, doing well, and in fact, excelling at school, up until recently. Yeah, maybe just got bored. That's why I dropped out of high school. Like, I read Catcher in the Rye when I was like 12. Goodbye! The Outsiders? We're gonna sit here and watch an Emilio Estevez in class? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm skipping. Here is some background. Please keep in mind that I have a highly demanding job that takes a lot of time and effort and causes a lot of stress. I'm in tears at the end of the day half the time. This, paired with raising 2 kids and a disabled husband, is a lot. I never get me time and I'm constantly stressed. And I will admit, this causes me to have quite the temper and I am regrettably snappy. I mean, okay, all that does make a lot of sense, but I still don't think it's a good idea to kick out your autistic child to get some peace and quiet, you know? Have you tried buying them a copy of Minecraft? That'll keep them occupied for a while. Now, we have been very accommodating to them ever since they ended up in a mental hospital for a short period of time, but ever since then, their grades have dropped significantly, and they have been much less willing or able, as they say, to do housework and chores and even schoolwork. It got so bad that they couldn't even go to school. We had to switch to an online program costing $3,000 US, and they are still failing in some classes. We're just gonna brush over the psychotic break thing? Yeah, probably a lot of things change. Why you don't look deeper into why things change? Just online classes, that's it? Isolate them further, surely that'll fix it? Clearly not. OP says, it is much better though. In-person was hell to navigate and they were failing everything. I know they're extremely gifted, but I fear they are unwilling or unable to put in the effort to fix their grades or reach out to their teachers. Often that's what happens with gifted kids. They got handed everything so easy in elementary school that when they hit the real world, they don't know how to work for it. I skated by in my own life for a long time, but yeah, once you learn to get after it, you're really going to get after it. They refuse to do the simplest tasks and are failing classes and don't have a job or any plan whatsoever. And all they do is quite literally self-isolate away from us and watch TV and crochet and write instead of doing school or chores. And I'm so sick of bending over backwards for this kid. It's so frustrating when they're failing and missing assignments, but are making no effort whatsoever to fix it. And what's more, they want me to back off on checking their grades because it's stressful for them. So I really am helpless here. It sounds like you've created like a stress-free zone for this child and they plan to never leave. So the way to get the ball rolling is to make it more stressful. This is a list of things that you have to do on these days each week, and if it doesn't happen, there will be consequences. I'm not going to remind you of it. You are simply going to be punished for it, because that's what happens in the real world. You don't have to leave the nest quite yet, but let's make sure you're prepared to go out there and play with big boys and girls, okay? I don't think OP is completely blameless. She's definitely an enabler. I'm super curious as to why the kid ended up in a mental hospital. Just very vague, very mysterious. I guess that helps in making yourself look like the good guy, huh? OP says, so lately, I've been considering maybe kicking him out when they turn 18, so it won't be my burden anymore. That's right. If you've got a big sack of kittens, you just put them in a pillowcase and throw them in the river. Not my burden anymore. And we're decreasing the surplus pet population. You're welcome, America. OP says, I know that sounds so cruel, but it feels like they're manipulating me so they'll never have to do anything, and I'm sick of it. They will be an adult and can figure it out, and I'll still be there to support them without having to be the sole bearer of the burden that is my child. So, am I wrong? Not at all. It sounds like you're going through the proper processes. You want to make sure that the kid's okay before they get out there, but yeah, it's hard to start pushing them out there sometimes. The griping and the blame with calling the child a burden, like, you chose to take up this burden, essentially, didn't you? So yes, while I think you might want to go to therapy and work through some of those issues, I do believe that kid is just doing the thing that teenagers do in late teenagerdom, just kind of disconnecting, because they're forming their own sense of independence. Eventually, they are going to get out of the house. And that's when you change the locks. I'm probably joking. Maybe not, though. Edit. A lot of you are wondering why they were in the mental hospital. Yup. They have CPTSD due to being diddled reputedly at a school age, 7 or 8. We did not know, and they refused to tell us the name, so we can't do much. Apparently, they just randomly started getting memories of it, and it made them have several manic episodes and depression swings, ending in an attempted unalive attempt. Yeah, this is a lot worse than you made it sound. That happened on your watch, OP. Does school age mean they were at school? I guess I didn't expect it to get so heavy there at the end. Added 2, my husband has myotonic dystrophy and is incredibly weak, so he can't do very many chores. We go to parent therapy, and she goes to regular therapy every Wednesday. My child has requested I try therapy for myself, but I don't have the time or energy for it. You definitely need it. That's what I'll say. Calling your own child a burden, like, I can't conceive of it. I've been mad at my children, sure, but I'm their provider, protector, and I'm so grateful to be able to do that for them, you know? What are you gonna do if you don't have kids? Save up for a fucking Royal Caribbean cruise? Yeah, I'm sure that Caribbean cruise will keep you company on your deathbed. I don't know, man. Children should be treated like they're precious, but also, when they get a little bit older and snarkier and they're being an asshole, don't be afraid to call them an asshole. They know already that they are doing that, okay? They might respect you a little more if they call you out on it, or they'll give you the silent treatment. It's a win either way, in my opinion. I hope that you guys did enjoy the episode. If you did, like, comment, sub. I appreciate all those things. Check out my links in the description. Amazon affiliate, Teespring, my Patreon patrons, and my YouTube channel members. They're just such wonderful, beautiful people. I don't think I could stress that enough. You should become one of them, maybe, if and you want. On the end card, we got more videos for your viewing pleasure, so I hope you'll click on through. I know you'll enjoy them. And of course, always remember, friends, that you are loved, you're worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Promise. Where is it?